Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Brett and Matt Show. As always, he's Brett, I'm Matt, and so there was some pretty good football played this last weekend in the NFL. Well, I guess we can start off with what everyone's talking about lately, and that's the catch. If anyone didn't get a chance to see it, they should YouTube it right now because they'll be able to find it instantly. Odell Beckham Jr. Was a 43-yard touchdown, something
It,
like that.
I don't remember how long it was. It was
I think it was in the 40s. I know, and yeah, snagged it one hand while reaching back.
while being pass interfered with.
Got pass interfered with. Um, and just crazy. Like
Caught,
yeah,
caught it with three fingers. Two fingers and his thumb. I don't know if you guys count your thumb as a finger or not, but literally, it's all it was.
but yeah,
I,
full out reaching back, pulls it, and while his momentum is carrying back, is able to snap it forward and bring it in. Just I don't know, man. I've seen some crazy catches in football, but that, as far as just straight up catch goes, that might be the best catch I've ever seen. That was awesome.
that was, I mean, obviously, you see a lot of one-handed. Hell, you and I have caught one-handed passes before,
Hmm.
but I don't think we've ever caught something with three fingers, full extension, while falling to the ground and being pass interfered like that. That is literally that was like an insane catch.
Yeah.
I was watching. I was looking first at just photographs. I was online. I was looking at like all the pictures of it from different angles and just admiring what happened. And then you just watch that replay. Like the vine just loops over and over, and it didn't get old. You could sit there and watch that for like a good 15, 20 minutes and just marvel at how good of a catch that was.
Yeah, it really was. And I said going into the draft of that kid, I thought it was going to be pretty good, and I don't know, I'm looking like I might have been right on him. You didn't like him going in, of course.
What? I had no issues with him.
No, no, you did not.
And let's be honest too, with this receiver class, that this is a really good receiving class overall so far.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, some guys that were taken high. I mean, like our boy Cody Latimer, he hasn't even really gotten a chance to get on the field and show what he can do. And I mean, the Packers took Devontae Adams in the second round too. I mean, a guy that's still getting worked into the offense with having so many other weapons. But guys like Beckham Jr., who right away have to step in and be the number one guy, him and Sammy Watkins. I mean, Kelvin Benjamin, Mike
Mike Evans.
Evans. My goodness, I mean, this class was loaded for sure.
But I mean, I think to this point, I'd say definitely because I know Odell Beckham. I think he sat out the first couple of weeks before he got his time.
Yeah.
Um, but now that he's in, yeah, I don't know where you'd place him amongst this receiving class so far, but he's got to be probably one or two. Him and maybe Mike Evans.
Who's
Um,
come on like crazy of late, and um, the Panthers struggle. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I think it's between those two for offensive rookie of the year, to tell you the truth. Maybe overall rookie too. I
yeah,
don't know.
but
Mike Evans has had some monster games lately.
mhm. However, despite that catch. Oh, by the way, did you check out all the hilarious memes and stuff that people
I did,
created?
I did see all the funny memes.
Those were so funny. If anyone watches this and they haven't checked them out yet, they got some really good ones like uh, like Odell Beckham catching the Lion King, at the beginning where he's like holding him out, catching that god awful 50 Cent pitch, first pitch.
Yep,
Um, there's some really hilarious ones that are definitely worth checking out. But yeah, despite that, they ended up losing the game.
they did. Yeah, and even Beckham said, like it was a nice catch, but he pretty much said, it's not as good without getting the win. So, um,
And that happened, mainly that last drive, right? Um,
yeah,
Eli, or not Eli, sorry. There was a lot of time though for Tony Romo to kind of sit back there uh, and find the open receiver for the win.
yeah, that offensive line. There were a couple drives where they give him like 7, 8 seconds to pass the ball. I mean, I don't care how good of a corner you are, you can't cover that long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, next topic then, the Raiders. We mentioned it. Kansas City is a team that historically had been they've received the most losses against 0-10 teams or worse, with 3. Now it's 4 times they've done that as the Raiders get their first win of the season.
They did. And I gotta say that. I mean, I'll be the first to say it. I think I said it before. Like, I didn't think Oakland was gonna go 0-16. But I mean, I'm obviously neither one of us called that this was gonna happen. But it was. I think it was good to see them get at least one win this season. Try and get something to build off of a little bit. But obviously, I think going into this season, they actually had the toughest schedule in the NFL based off last season's records on who they had to play. So obviously, there's no question that they were going to have a rough time this year. But it was good to see them get that win.
Yeah, what division does the AFC West play in the NFC?
The West.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a hard schedule. You got to play those two. But yeah, I mean, I know the numbers don't look great for Derek Carr. He completed just over 50% of his passes. Had some really bad decisions where he's throwing it to guys they happen to drop the interceptions or not make a play. But I mean, for him, he led that last drive, right, and they got that touchdown. That I think he even had a bad throw on that drive. Got away with it and came back for the score. So it's good to see that. And then obviously Latavius Murray, right?
Yeah.
4 rushes, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think he got hurt. That's why he only had 4 carries. But
90 of it came on 1 yard or 1 rush.
But it's nice to have that kind of big playability.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alex Smith, like we said before, he just has to not screw things up for the Chiefs. And I don't really think that he necessarily did this last game. But, I mean, Jamal Charles was held to 80 yards. Not a particularly great game. Plus some of those defensive breakdowns, which is like their strength, obviously, as the Chiefs, giving up some big plays to aid the Raiders to a win.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we got another topic, too, about general divisions and direction. We just mentioned how tough it is for the AFC West and NFC West, especially with them playing each other and how good they were last year. Well, now we're still humming along, and the South divisions, AFC and NFC, still stink. Outside of the Colts, there's not, I don't think, any really good team in there. I mean, the next best team is the Texans, for goodness sake. Team that had the worst record last year is the second best team in either of those divisions.
It's absolutely pathetic. The Colts are obviously going to win it by default. I really don't think they have the pieces yet to contend. They're going to go to the playoffs and they're going to get shellacked by someone. I don't know who, but they're just going to get smoked probably. And as far as the NFC South is concerned, Tampa Bay could still win the division.
Okay, this is how messed up this is. They are closer to winning their division than San Francisco is to winning the West.
Yeah, it's bad, man. That or the Panthers could still win. In fact, the Panthers, I think that tie that they result in, that could end up affecting things down the road, which is funny. And right now, Atlanta is winning that division
at 4-7. And you look at it too, and the Saints were 4-4, coming off a big win against Green Bay. They just won 2 in a row. They had a 3-game homestand coming up, and then they go 0-3 at home.
Yeah,
which is definitely not what you expect out of a Saints team when they're playing at home. Like, I mean, obviously one of those losses I think was the San Francisco one, the Hail Mary at the end, sort of not counting that in the overtime. And then another close game here with the Ravens. But even still, you expect them to get probably 1 or 2 of those victories.
Just not playing good. Their defense is terrible.
No. Drew Brees too he's had an occasional mental lapse, which is pretty bad. I think he's got the 3rd most pick sixes thrown so far this year, including one that happened last night. So.
Yeah, that's just not good. That division just sucks.
While we're on divisions too, we're just gonna keep rolling with divisions here because we're talking about how the AFC North off screen was like I think the first team in a long time where every team is at least 3 games over 500.
First time ever.
First time ever.
Yeah, they said that on Mike and Mike the other day.
And you're like, okay, so obviously these teams are pretty good, but you look at it, and I think they're playing both South teams.
Correct, they are. So, yeah, I don't really know who out of that group is actually good and who's actually not. So, I don't know, man. It's I mean, you could have a situation like before with the Browns made the playoffs the last time they did, where they didn't really play all that good of a schedule, and it showed when they got to the playoffs and got smoked. Um, I will say though that maybe I'm just saying this because I saw the Ravens, last night, but I think the Ravens might have some pieces to actually contend with like the Patriots or at least give them a game, I guess. Some of these other teams I don't know about, but I think the Ravens have a pretty strong defense still. And Forsett obviously just been just beasting lately. And I really like the added element of Steve Smith Sr. on that team. Like they just lost that after they had Bolden went to San Fran, and I think he gives like their offense a bite, and we'll see what happens if they can make the postseason or not.
Yeah, it is weird too because we're sitting here we're like, okay, so they've played the South, AFC and NFC, and they're like, so they've got a bunch of wins against some really bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
They play good teams. They don't always show. Obviously, look at what happened with Cincinnati when they played some good teams. Not so great. I don't think Cleveland's got a great win either. But at the same time, you're like, okay, but they do have these records, and you look at them, and every one of them does have like a pretty, I think, something about them
That could convince you that they could win, maybe.
Maybe. Like you look at Pittsburgh, obviously Ben Roethlisberger had those couple weeks with Antonio Brown, who's perhaps playing as the best receiver so far this year.
Mm-hmm. They have Le'Veon Bell still.
Yep, Le'Veon Bell. So I mean, that offense, has the potential to win any game for them. Baltimore, just something always about Baltimore. They do, as you mentioned, have that defense, a little added bite now with Steve Smith, and the offensive line's playing a lot better. Cleveland's defense has been its strong point.
Cleveland, I mean, their defense keeps them in games. They run the football well, and even when Hoyer does turn the ball over, they still find a grant, albeit against the Falcons, but they still found a way to win the game. And they did get Josh Gordon back too, so
he looked pretty decent.
Yeah, he did.
I think he was only in for 34 snaps, but he got targeted on like 15 of those, and I think he had 8 catches and 112 yards. I mean, that's pretty good. That's what you'd expect out of. I mean, more than what you'd expect out of a guy coming off having not played for the last 3 months.
Right, and then the team we haven't talked about yet, the Bengals, who honestly probably talent-wise have the most talent in that division on their team. They just haven't been able to put it together, and that offense can score, and the defense. They're such an up and down team sometimes, man. I tell you.
And it does. I feel like it does kind of all hinge on the Andy Dalton. Good.
It really does.
Good Andy versus bad Andy. They're not a team that can really overcome a lot of the time when he's playing poorly.
That's a good way to put it.
When he's playing good, the team's obviously they're very tough to beat. It's a very interesting division, and it'll be weird to see who comes out of it this next couple weeks because I don't think before the season, none of us would have expected, especially Cleveland, to even be in the race. But at this point, with 4 or 5 games to go for them, they're right there, and they got a good chance. And I hope they do, just because that would be awesome to see Cleveland in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. So next up, obviously the Jets got their butts handed to them against the Bills in Detroit this last week, actually last night. So the Michael Vick experiment has not been going very well, and the Geno Smith experiment has not been going very well. So if you're the Jets, you're probably going to fire Rex Ryan, right? And possibly the GM. You got to start over and get a new quarterback, right?
Yeah, you have no choice. I mean, you have to.
Which quarterback do you like more, Brett? This is such a easy answer, I'm sure.
I'm going to go Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I figured as much. You don't want to see famous Jameis and his
in New York
antics in New York and how fun that'd be?
I would say it would depend. One, on what they view of his character, because everything from character-wise too, from Marcus Mariota has been great. He's like a great kid on and off.
Yep.
Good leader. Obviously, his numbers are good. Maybe you worry a little bit just because that is that Oregon system.
Built?
What's that?
Is Mariota thinly built?
He does look a little thin.
Like Winston Famous James he just looks like he's a little thicker to me.
Well, that's because he is thicker. He's a fat ass.
Yeah, but fat ass means he might be able to take hits. Mariota worries me if he's skinny. Not that Kaepernick ever takes a lot of hits, and he's skinny as heck, but I mean, like Bridgewater, like that guy's skinny, man. Same way, like I think, man, if he takes a beating, he's gonna be hurting.
Oregon or ESPN, I assume they get their numbers from Oregon site. List him at 6'4", 220. So he's not that skinny. It's pretty good size. I mean, there are some other guys like Peyton who are 6'5" and they weigh 250, but Peyton's obviously not the athlete that Mariota is either.
No. Okay, so new question. Okay, let me phrase it this way. If you were to take the character issues out of it, or at least do your best to take, would you still take Mariota over Winston? It was just from a pure football standpoint, no character issues.
I like a guy that can see when he's out there. I'm still gonna go Mariota. I don't need a guy that's squinting all the time.
I don't know, man. I kind of worry about Mariota. I don't know. I'm sure he's really talented. I just wonder how he's going to do, like, if he gets asked to play in a pro-style offense and doesn't get into a spread situation, I guess. I think Jameis Winston handled that just fine, but I'm not saying that I like Jameis Winston. I just think from a football standpoint that he might be more amped to succeed right away. Unless, of course, the team that drafts Mariota realizes the kind of athlete they have and try to do things to better suit his traits and things like that, of that nature.
Yeah,
which I think they probably would.
Like what Russell Wilson's done, Colin Kaepernick, those teams have successfully incorporated some read option. The Chiefs have done it occasionally. I mean, you can at least throw it in there once in a while just to give teams something to think about. And if the quarterback makes the right read, it's going to be a big play once in a while. If ends crash, Mariota is going to outrun dudes, and I know Winston at least going to get caught if they try to run that same sort of offense. But obviously, with Winston, you don't have to run that kind of offense either.
So that poses a new question. So there's all sorts of rumors that if Philadelphia doesn't end up doing well this postseason, they don't have Foles connected to a long-term deal, nor do they have Sanchez. Would you, if you're Chip Kelly, try and mortgage the future to trade up? Because right now, theoretically, either Oakland or Jacksonville, they might have one of the top picks. And if either of those teams do, they don't need a quarterback. Like they got Carr and they got Bortles. They're not going to go and burn the first overall pick on a quarterback. So obviously, they're going to want to try and trade down.
And you got the Redskins that are going to be up there too.
The Redskins will be up there. The Jets will be up there. You got Tampa Bay. You still got some quarterback needy teams, but if you're Chip Kelly, do you maybe try and mortgage your future to move up and get Mariota possibly? What do you think of that idea? What if that happened?
I think that would be, if they would trade up, they'd have to trade up into the top 5. That's going to be going
for sure. It would be like the Rams and Redskins trade a couple of 3 years ago.
Look how well that worked out.
I know. I'm just saying. This is all just for fun.
I think. Okay, you look at that first year in Washington, right? Everyone's like, "Yeah, hella good trade. Thank you, Dan."
It looked like it. They made the playoffs. RG3 won Rookie of the Year over Luck, and then they decided to play him when he was hurt, which was not smart. But and obviously we've seen what a train wreck that is. We'll get to that later. So I do understand that. But look at the Rams. The Rams, if they could get themselves a decent quarterback, they would be a really good team.
They would be, but you look at it too, and a lot of their talent, some young talent that they wouldn't have had without that trade.
Without the trade. True.
And I think at this point they're in a position too where they're still going to be, a top. Let's see, what's their record right now? The Rams. I can't believe they got that stupid win. It's totally screwing themselves out of draft position. Uh, no, I didn't. They didn't win. They lost. Good. Yeah, so they're 4-7. So I mean, they're down there top 10, I think, in the draft at this point.
Probably.
I think this would be the year if they're going to be a team. You take that quarterback this year. You've got that talent everywhere else. You've drafted receivers. You got some running backs that have shown some life, and Trey Mason.
Got a good offensive line. Your defensive line is stacked.
This would be the year you take that quarterback, because obviously Sam Bradford hasn't shown anything when healthy, and he hasn't been healthy. No. So you take that quarterback. There's guys like Mariota and Winston are going to be obviously top 10 talents. Where they go, I'm not sure. Maybe Connor Cook from Michigan State, if he can
go pro. Watch out for him.
Or you could. I mean, they're not. Those are probably the top 3 guys, only first-round guys. I think that there's going to be out there.
Agreed.
There's some other dudes too that people are kind of high on. Brent Hundley out of UCLA. Some people kind of like. Would be interesting. What would be really great is if Braxton Miller just went pro, but he can't be a quarterback. It doesn't matter.
I read one thing. Speaking of, I did read one thing on ESPN that said he should switch to being he should switch to running back.
That'd be a really big running back.
He's fast.
He's got good wheels, but like that would be huge. Another one said, "Oh, put him at safety," which is like, okay, if he likes to hit people, well, he's got bad shoulders. Why is he gonna lower the wood on somebody, and then all of a sudden he's gonna be hurt for a year because he just broke like half of his body?
It's true.
I think that's part of it too. Is off tangent here.
Anyways, you're saying if you're Chip Kelly, you wouldn't do it?
No. I mean, I don't know who I would take later in the first or in the second if somebody were to fall to me. You know, I mean, there's not any guys really, that I think are going to be great, like second and third round, potential prospects, other than maybe Hundley. Let's see, who else would there be at like the quarterback position?
Well, you named the 4 guys I could think of off the top of my head. What about his name, Bryce Petty from Baylor?
Baylor. Mm-hmm.
But he's a system guy, so I don't know how much they're gonna look.
Yeah, but RG3 was a system guy, right? And he went second.
That's true, but RG3 had a lot more talent than this guy might have.
Let's see. Who are some other quarterbacks? Come on, CBS Sports, work with me.
I think like you, I probably wouldn't do it. I think if I was one of the teams trying to trade down, though, I would sure listen to offers, because chances are the Raiders and the Jags, we all know, could use more picks, so might be something they'd worth considering. And it sounds like, it'll be interesting come draft time, where things end up shaking out, and there'll be obviously lots of rumors at that point. But yeah, it was interesting.
Let's see. Looking at other names that just pop up, Dak Prescott from Mississippi State. I don't know if he'll go pro. I mean, he's in the Heisman talk. He's had a really decent year down there at Mississippi State. He's a round 2 guy, though. Bryce Petty's a round 2 or 3 guy. Jesus Christ, Bo Wallace from Ole Miss is draftable. Nobody take that guy, please. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a great quarterback class. I mean, if you're the Eagles and you think that you need to, you at worst you're gonna trade up and take Hundley early in the second if he's still there. To move up in the first round, that's just gonna cost too much. I think for probably what it'll end up being worth.
Yeah. Let's see. So I guess some other NFL stuff that happened this last week. The Seahawks got a big win over the Cardinals, and that division is, I mean, the Cardinals have such a lead on it, and it was in Seattle. But yeah, I think the Cardinals, like I said before, I think I said it before, maybe I didn't, but going into last week, if they went 3-3 to finish out the season, that'd put them at 12-4. And if Green Bay manages to win out, Green Bay would get the number 1 seed instead of the number 2 seed. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I just, the Cardinals, I'll say this. Drew Stanton's got to play a little better than he did last week. Like, that offense is just, come on. Like, they blocked a punt or something, and they got the ball, and they went 3-and-out and had to kick the field goal. That's the only reason they had 3 points in that game. Come on.
And again, so this was in Seattle. I think we both picked. Did we both pick Seattle to win?
Oh, I picked the Cardinals.
Whoops. But I mean, they still got a 2-game lead at this point. Obviously, they still have San Francisco and Seattle left. If they lose both of those, depending on what happens during the season, that'll actually give Seattle and San Francisco right back into it.
Nope.
I mean, those are, I think, are obviously 3 playoff-worthy teams, though. Especially when Palmer, was healthy for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I know they've won some games with Drew Stanton, but
there's a reason Palmer is a starter. Let's just put it that way.
And there is a noticeable difference. Like, some people might, notice the wins and losses or some of the other things. But I think there's a definite.
It's worth pointing out too that Fitzgerald did not play last week.
Good point. Also, Seattle did get Bobby Wagner back in the middle of their defense for the first time since week 6. So I think that probably helped them out a little bit too, because he's a hell of a good player there in the middle of the defense.
For sure. So with that, I think we can move on to this week's picks.
Believe we can.
Yeah. So we have 3 games to entertain us during Thanksgiving. So.
Oh, you mean when I'm working?
Brett, have you seen that thing where, there are like people that work in hospitals and things too that have to work?
Yeah. People working in hospitals make sense because people are sick and dying. People that need to go shopping, get out of here.
This is true. Now, that means you don't get the Black Friday shop then, if you're going to say that. Which I don't know if you would or not anyways.
Nope. Hell, I'm there at work, though. I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy some stuff if I have to.
So anyways, let's see. So we have the first game is the Bears at the Lions.
This could be, this is one of those games where I really wish the Bears would just pull off an upset because that would just help Green Bay out even more. And this is about that time of the year where, you're like, okay, here comes Detroit's tanking season, where they look great for the first part of the season. It's almost like the Chargers used to do back in the day.
Right.
But I can't. I mean, I know that the Bears are decent on the road. They're 3-3 though. But the Lions are pretty good at home. I don't know, man. This isn't
as easy a pick as you think because weird things happen on Thanksgiving for football. It does.
I'm gonna go with the Lions though. I mean, I think they're the better team, and they can slide forever. What are you thinking? You're gonna go with Chicago, aren't you? After this last week, man. You should just mirror my picks. Don't fall any farther behind,
Taking the Lions as well. I just can't pull the trigger on the Bears. Yeah. Next up, we have the Eagles at the Cowboys.
This is going to be a good game.
This is going to be a good game. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be for whoever wins this is going to have, a nice small lead there in the NFC. Very important. Man. I got it. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I feel like I did that last time. Did these 2 teams play already?
No, they have not. This is the first time.
This is the first time?
I'm taking the Eagles then. Yep.
You're going opposite?
Yep, I'm going to go opposite on you on this one. I'm going to take the Eagles.
Sanchez still going to be a quarterback, right?
What?
I said the Sanchez, he's still QB up there in Philly?
Yes.
Nope, Dallas wins.
I'm taking the Eagles in this. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how Dallas defends against that offense, and yeah, we'll see what happens. The Seahawks at the 49ers.
Another important game. These Thursday night games are good.
Mm-hmm.
These are all some pretty good games. San Francisco's the favorite.
I'm just going to go first, okay? I'm taking the 49ers, so that means you should take the Seahawks.
It sucks because that's actually the one game that I won't get to watch part of. Man, the 49ers have been playing pretty good.
No, they haven't. They barely beat the Redskins. Are you serious?
Hey, barely wins or barely wins. All right.
Oh my
Actually, if you look
gosh.
at it too, and they've beaten the Saints, which is also another gimme win. Looking at it, and it wasn't even a gimme. You're right. Seattle. Seattle gets the win.
There you go. So we go opposite there. Okay, so then going to Sunday, this was supposed to be a good matchup for the next how many years, and it hasn't ended up that way. We have the Redskins at the Colts.
Colts.
Pretty sure we're both taking the Colts.
Yeah.
I know we made fun of that division, but the Redskins are terrible. So, let's see. We have the Titans at the Texans.
Oh. What happens again is Zach Mettenberger has learned his lesson. He's not taking selfies this week. J.J. Watt still eats him alive. Texans win.
I'm gonna take the Titans in this one. Don't ask me why. I'm taking the Titans though. So that means we got the bull. We both took the Colts. I took the Titans. You took the Texans. Next up we have the Browns and the Bills. That's interesting, right?
That's interesting because you just saw what the Bills. I mean, I know it was the Jets, but
They kicked the crap out of them.
they did. The Browns. I'm just gonna.
This one's tough, man.
I'm gonna go Bills.
I'm gonna go Browns. Okay.
I was. Were you just gonna go opposite?
Yes, I was just gonna go whatever the opposite you said. Because I can make a case for both teams. Yeah, I'm gonna go Browns.
We're gonna pick the same team on this next one.
Next up we have the Chargers and the Ravens.
Yeah, and I gotta go with the Ravens. Yeah, I know you're disappointed because you really wanted me to go with the Chargers so you could go with the Ravens. Matt, it's okay. We can agree on a couple of these, you know?
I know, but it's so fun being wrong or being right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the. Yeah, what the heck? I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Wow.
Yep. The Giants at the Jaguars. Okay.
Wow. I mean, I know the Giants are the better team, but I almost kind of want to go with Jacksonville. But, pardon my language, everybody that's not watching. Matt, make your pick while I think about it.
I could just see Eli throwing like 3 or 4 interceptions for some stupid reason. I'm taking the Giants.
Me too. I can't go with.
You can't, right?
You can't pick Jacksonville to win games. It's just not the smart bet.
The Bengals at Tampa Bay.
The Bengals.
Taking the Bengals. Ooh, this one's interesting. The Raiders at the Rams.
The Raiders are gonna get hot after that win and go 6-10. That'd be real funny. Just screw themselves out of draft picks for their new GM. Nah, it's gonna be the Rams.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders on this one.
Whoa. Any particular reason other than to go opposite?
The only reason besides just to go opposite that I'm trying to hang my hat on is I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than whoever the Rams have, and I'm hoping that'll be the difference in the game. That's it. That's all I got.
It's not always a bad idea to pick the quarterback out. I mean, obviously quarterbacks don't always win, but in a tight-knit game, I mean, that can come down and be like the difference since that they touch the ball literally every offensive snap. So
it's true. Next up, the Saints at the Steelers.
The Saints are so bad. That defense is terrible, and they're going up against an offense that can just tear you up. Got to be the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers for sure. That's not even. I can't even try to pretend like I'm going to take the Saints again. The Panthers at the Vikings.
This is going to be the week that the Panthers, after this win, they're going to be in first place.
Wow, I'm taking the Vikings.
They are the favorite.
So you're taking the Panthers then? Okay. The Cardinals at the Falcons.
Cardinals.
Oh boy, but Matty Ice, man.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm sure not taking the Falcons. That's for sure. I am definitely taking the Cardinals.
All right, this next game.
This is the creme de la creme right here. We have the the Patriots at the Packers. Wow.
That's a good game. And it's funny because you watch New England, and they've beaten teams by just passing it down their throat and running it down their throat, you know?
They have. And they've beaten the Broncos thoroughly, and they beat the Lions thoroughly, who beat the Packers pretty bad.
It's true. I mean, offensively, they can do it anyway that the defense gives them. And Green Bay had obviously struggled early in the season against the run. I feel like they're doing better in that category, though.
They are.
You know, lately, especially with Clay Matthews in there, so they just get more of the better athletes and football players on the field. Aaron Rodgers has been red hot. I know last week wasn't necessarily the best. Close win over the Vikings. You look at who Green Bay's beaten. Who have they beaten that was any good?
Philadelphia?
Philly's probably the best team.
Yeah, otherwise they don't really have any. All their losses came to tough teams. Seattle, New Orleans, and Detroit, albeit all three on the road.
It's true. Green Bay hasn't lost at home yet.
No. And I don't see it starting now, baby. I'm picking the Packers.
Picking the Packers? Yeah. I'd love for the Packers to win. Everybody knows that. I'm going to go with the
Patriots, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I think that Green Bay, by the way, is going to get some good pressure on Tom Brady. If it becomes a passing game, I think they'll be able to apply some pressure on him. But if the old defense that just has allowed a lot of rushing yards shows up, that's not going to be a huge factor.
It's true.
So it'll be. I think it'll hinge just on the defense. Green Bay's defense. They play well. Green Bay is probably going to win this game, but if it's the old defense, it's not going to matter because then Tom Brady's going to have his way, either throwing or passing.
It's true. I honestly think the difference, at least for my reasoning for picking the Packers, ultimately, I think it's because at Lambeau. If it was at New England, I would definitely pick the Patriots. For me, that's I think the difference.
Vegas basically views this as a wash. They've given Green Bay 3 points in this game. Basically, that's just the home field advantage difference. If this was on a neutral place, like if they were on the Super Bowl, line would be basically 0.
Yep.
So,
next
another
up,
good game after this. This whole week is full of great matchups.
It is. Sunday Night Football, we have the Broncos at the Chiefs.
Broncos and Chiefs. You got the Broncos, who I know they won last week, didn't look great.
They haven't looked great, and Arrowhead's a tough place to play.
Probably the last 4 weeks, I'd say Denver hasn't looked great. Yeah, you mentioned Arrowhead's tough. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Damn it! I wanted to go with the Chiefs.
I can't believe that the Broncos are gonna be 8-4. Yeah.
Well, now I'm picking the Broncos.
Well, you're probably gonna be right on that one.
Let's see, and then you just said the week's full of great matchups. Who freaking cares about the Dolphins at the Jets?
Hey, the Monday night matchups this year have been bad. All right, this is no worse than any other matchup. The Dolphins win, and probably fairly easily, though.
Yes, I'm picking the Dolphins too. There's just no debate about that. Yeah, and that's this week. So I better write down which picks I made because I didn't send them out yet. And so let's see. We both went Lions. I went Eagles. You went Cowboys. I went Niners. You went Hawks. Both went Colts. I went Titans. Let's see. Did we? Yeah,
You
we
went
split,
Browns.
right? I went Browns.
Yeah.
You went Bills. I went. Did I go Chargers?
Yes.
Nah, shoot. Chargers. We both picked the Giant G-Men.
Pick
We
the
both picked
Bengals.
the Bengals. I picked the Raiders. We both picked the Steelers. I went Vikings.
I went Panthers.
Both picked the Cardinals.
And we split on the Patriots and
I went
Packers,
Packers. I went Broncos
and then the Dolphins.
and Dolphins. So out of those,
How many were different? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 or 10 of these are different. This is gonna be a big week. If one of us happens to be right a lot, it's gonna be very bad for the other person. Though there's also obviously a good chance too that the 10 that we picked different, you could get 5 of those right. I could get.
yeah,
5.
you can just split them. Yeah, that's very true. And then no one would make any progress. So
Which is fine with me. I think I got the lead. I think I have to go back and we're going to do a stat check on 2 weeks. But last week I went 13-2, inexplicably picking the Rams to win one of those games. Didn't happen, but that's all right. It's almost a great week. Almost a perfect week. I don't even count the Thursday night games. Those games are outrageously weird.
that is true. But yeah, I suppose we'll be going over the action that happens this current week, or weekend. So everyone that's watching, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Enjoy some of that turkey, or duck, or ham, whatever you do. It's gonna be delicious. If you're vegetarian, do something else. It's cool. Eat a giant tofu block, whatever.
There you go. But yeah, so until next time.
See you later.